All right, guys. For those of you thinking about panic selling, I have to come up and tell you that you might want to hold on to your BTC until 2025, not just next year. And if you do sell out next year because it goes way up, you probably want to keep at least a little bit of it for 2025. You know why? Because there could be an earth-shattering event. And we talked about this a while back, but some of you might have actually forgotten. No, it's not legal clarity. That'll probably come next year. It's not the ETF. That will come next year as well. It's also not the halving. That's most definitely coming next year. But in case you've forgotten this one rule, banks are going to be able to be allowed to hold Bitcoin, 1% of their reserves as Bitcoin in 2025. And that is a mountain shaking event. Some of you are going like, oh, it's just 1%. What's the big deal? 1% of banks' holdings is still a crap ton of money, in case you guys didn't know. I think some of you are just writing it off because it is only 1%. But let's not forget that this 1% is 1% of hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars. And that's all these banks put together. It's not only JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, it's these mega banks put together. And I think these mega banks are willing to put 1% of the reserves in crypto. And, if that 1% equals out to be like $50 billion or something, or like even $20 billion, that will pump up crypto a lot because they're all going to be wanting to get in at the lowest price. And once they start buying in, the price is going to go up, regardless if they buy OTC or if they buy retail. Because if they buy OTC, it might not directly impact the price, but once that price really starts rising, they're not going to want to buy like when it starts getting up. So they're going to want to be the first ones in. And they're going to dry up the OTC market, which means other people will actually have to buy off the retail market. So that's why I believe it's going to be extremely, extremely pivotal that you actually hold at least some of your BTC until then. $50 billion coming into crypto is not going to just raise the market cap of crypto by $50 billion. Once you get past a certain point, probably like $50,000, $60,000 right now, the thing is like each dollar going in will exponentially raise the market cap because there isn't that much resistance. Remember, market cap is generally highest price times, well, not the highest price, the last price times the supply. It's not necessarily how much money is actually flowing into a coin. Yes, there are problems. We're projecting like tens or hundreds of trillions of dollars market cap for crypto for your one coin because all it takes is one big whale to sell and then no one can actually buy up the orders. But if banks are actually buying tens of billions of dollars, I think they can hold that sell pressure up to a very, very high price of Bitcoin. And it's going to be much, much higher than last bull run. I think it can break 100K for sure if they do that, and has a good chance of breaking 200K if they do that once they start initially buying in. And I think when these big boys start buying in, they're not going to want the massive 80% drop in crypto when they actually have crypto reserves, because that would look really, really bad for their balance sheet. So in the next bear market, they might actually parry it down to where it's not quite as bad. So if it goes to 200K, it only might drop to like 125K or 100K if these big banks are in. Remember, this time around, like BlackRock, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, they're not really into crypto right now. They want to be in on it, but the regulations keep them from being in it. But with this 1% rule, I think a lot of these people are actually going to bite the bullet and get into Bitcoin. Once they have money in it, their tune is going to change. And don't listen to Jamie Dimon right now and JP Morgan. They will buy Bitcoin once this comes in. JP Morgan offers a lot of crypto services because their clients want it, and their actions actually do whatever makes them profit, not their own opinions. And Jamie Dimon might just be funning so everyone else sells so he can get in at a lower price. That's also a very big possibility as well. Although I won't really, speak on if that's actually true or not, because I have no idea if that's actually true or not. But the thing is, like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, once they see the other banks buying in, they will most definitely buy in, and tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars coming into crypto because banks are actually buying crypto for their reserves is huge. And a lot of these US banks, I think they're just waiting on the sidelines, waiting to get in. Same thing with BlackRock, Fidelity. Not only will they be able to get the ETF next year, but they will actually be able to hold their own reserves, 1% in Bitcoin. And that, my friends, is definitely an earth-shattering event. Even though 1% might not sound like much, because, tens of billions flowing into crypto will raise, the market cap of crypto, I think possibly $1 trillion or more, because it just has that kind of a multiplier effect. Once all the resistances are broken, I don't think there's that much resistance above 50, 60,000 right now, because everyone's been shorting it down and everyone's been selling. But once those all get liquidated, once that cap blows off, I think that big bank money coming in will inspire a lot of retail FOMO, and we will go much higher once this actually kicks in than anyone expected. This also might mean the bull run actually might last quite a bit longer than most people expected if banks come in with this 1% buy. And we're not talking about small banks. We're talking about the big guys, because if they see profitability, they're going to go after it. They are not going to back off on this. So that's kind of like where we are with why you need Bitcoin to hold Bitcoin until 2025. In other news, Vitalik has sold $1 million of Ethereum. He sold 600 of Ethereum, but do not panic. This is not a big deal. Vitalik has a lot more than 600 Ethereum. He probably just needed to sell the Ethereum for his new meat-based diet, because we know that Vitalik needs to put on some weight and go lifting at the gym. But he's sold off Ethereum before at the peak of the 2017 bull run, but we're not at the peak of the bull run. He just 600 Ethereum is probably just pocket change for him, because he is, the founder of Ethereum, and he probably has a massive, massive bag stacked somewhere. So, I know this has been making the rounds, and some people on Twitter are saying oh, he doesn't believe in Ethereum anymore. He's selling all his Ethereum. No. He hasn't sold he hasn't sold off all his Ethereum. He's probably been buying back and forth as well, because I'm pretty sure a guy like Vitalik, he doesn't tell us, but he'll trade Ethereum. He'll probably trade futures and stuff as well. He is a big player in the market. He has tons of Ethereum actually backing him up. So this is really not something the founder just lost faith in his project. If 600 Ethereum was all he had, if he was like Charlie Lee and he basically just sold and told everyone good day, then I would pay attention. But this 600 Ethereum is nothing compared to him. I know that 600 Ethereum might be oh my gosh, that would be so much for me. Yes, but you're not Vitalik. You're not an alien. And also, you are not the founder of Ethereum, and you don't have a massive bag. I mean, some of you probably do, but probably not as massive of a bag as Vitalik Buterin does. So those people that are freaking out about Vitalik Buterin selling off a portion of his Ethereum, I mean, founders do this all the time. The Ripple execs do it all the time. The Ethereum people do it all the time. I'm sure Charles does it too. I'm sure all these founders actually sell part of their bag from time to time just to cash in whenever they can. Because if you had billions of dollars worth of an asset, you would probably want to actually cash out at least every once in a while just to pat yourself on the back and be like, haha, I'm rich, and I'm way richer than any of those peasants. And he's a billionaire, so this probably doesn't really affect too much. He might have just needed some liquidity for some project or other. Gemini is fighting the SEC on the same terms as Coinbase and Binance. And this is why that Ripple case is so important. And the SEC knows this too. They specifically said in their appeal that we want this appeal because this might actually affect the outcome of other cases. Yes, they use the Terra Luna win to bolster it, but I think everyone knows that Terra Luna and Ripple and a lot of these other projects are very different. So I don't think the SEC thinks that Terra Luna thing will actually affect it too much. They basically just wanted to up their ante, or at least they wanted to up their chances of actually winning by having a lawsuit that actually went their way. Because none of the other lawsuits, let's be real, are really going their way right now. But Gemini has made some really good arguments. A lot of their stuff is with Gemini Earn. So we could actually get a huge triple victory in terms of cryptos aren't securities on the secondary market. Stakings aren't securities, and these crypto programs aren't securities. And that would completely annihilate the SEC and all their hope for power over crypto. And I think Gary Gensler is actually getting kind of nervous right now. I think that's part of the reason he's sort of trying to pivot to AI, because he can't really win the crypto thing. And I think he sees that his allies in Congress are getting thinner and thinner. And eventually it might just be Elizabeth Warren and her anti-crypto army of 3 people and Brad Sherman, because they're going to be sticking by Gary Gensler. But them against the rest of the Congress, Not going to work too well for Gary Gensler. So the thing is, like, I think he's seeing his legacy kind of go up in flames too, especially with the Ripple lawsuit loss. I know a couple of people are cheering for Gensler. I'm definitely not, but like, Gasparriano isn't really in crypto, but like Calvin Ayre, the BSV guy, Michael Saylor, and a couple of the Bitcoin or Ethereum BSV maxis, whatever, they're hoping that the rest of crypto's security. They're not the good guys in crypto anymore. They might have been early on, but they are not anymore because they are basically trying to kill the rest of the market for their own investment. But Gemini and the Winklevoss twins, I think, are basically like teaming up with Coinbase, Binance, and everyone else, and they're basically taking the SEC head on the same exact issues on every one of them. And the SEC's got to be shaking, at least Gensler does, because they know that if they lose one, they're going to lose them all. And since they lost the Ripple case, it does not bode well for their cases on Coinbase and Binance. Because I think the SEC asked for that emergency appeal specifically because like they know that if they don't get it, the Coinbase case is not going to go well for them. And if they lose the Coinbase case, they're going to lose at least part of the Binance case and part of the Gemini case as well. And as for the rest of the Binance case, like, the SEC hasn't provided any kind of real evidence, so they could lose both parts of that. Such huge losses on the legal realm will not look well on Gensler's record, and the SEC is really just flailing its arms right now. But Gemini is another opponent that intends to strongly contend with the SEC's allegations. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.